Twins of Fate, a Queen's Dilemma. My name is Althea, and I am the Queen of the ancient kingdom of Avaritia. My husband, Arik, is the king consort, and together we have ruled over our land for many years. Our people have prospered under our reign, and we have worked hard to ensure their safety and happiness. But lately, I have been plagued by a terrible worry. Arik and I have been trying for years to have a child, but it seems that fate has dealt us a cruel hand. No matter what we do, we cannot seem to conceive. I am filled with sadness and despair, for I know that without an heir, our kingdom is at risk. To make matters worse, there is a war on the horizon. Our neighbouring kingdom of Avaritia has grown increasingly aggressive, and it seems that they are intent on taking our land by force. I fear for the safety of our people and for the future of our kingdom. Despite my fears, I know that I must be strong. I am the Queen of Avaritia, and I will not let my people down. I will do whatever it takes to protect them, even if it means putting my own life at risk. As the days pass, my worries only grow stronger. I spend long hours in my chambers, poring over maps and reports, trying to come up with a plan to defend our land. Arik is a great help to me, and together we work tirelessly to prepare for the war. But even as we make our plans, I cannot shake the feeling of despair that lingers within me. I long to have a child, to pass on the legacy of Avaritia to the next generation. But it seems that fate has other plans for me. As the war draws nearer, I find myself filled with a sense of dread. I do not know what the future holds, but I know that I will do whatever it takes to protect my people. I am Althea, the Queen of Avaritia, and I will not let them down. My name is Seraphine, and I am the personal knight of Queen Althea of Avaritia. When word reached the kingdom that Berolina was amassing troops along our border, the Queen knew that we needed help. She called for me and entrusted me with a critical mission, to travel to the north and seek aid from her uncle, Lord Magnus, who ruled over a powerful army. I set out on horseback, travelling swiftly through the mountains and forests that lay between Avaritia and the north. I encountered many dangers along the way, from treacherous terrain to wild beasts, but I was determined to complete my mission and bring help back to my queen. Finally, after many days of hard riding, I arrived at the gates of Lord Magnus's stronghold. I was greeted by a formidable army of soldiers, all clad in shining armour and wielding swords and shields, but I stood tall and presented myself as a knight of Avaritia, seeking an audience with the Lord. To my relief, I was granted an audience with Lord Magnus. I knelt before him and delivered Queen Althea's message, explaining the dire situation that our kingdom faced and begging for his help. Lord Magnus listened intently, his face grave with concern. He knew that Berolina was a formidable foe and that Avaritia would need all the help it could get to defend itself. After a moment's thought, he made his decision. He would send his army to Avaritia to aid our queen in battle, but he also had a condition. I was to accompany the army and fight alongside them, using my skills as a knight to help win the war. I agreed readily, knowing that my queen would be grateful for any aid that we could get. And so we set out together, Lord Magnus's army and I, riding hard through the mountains and valleys, making our way back to Avaritia. When we arrived, we found that our queen had prepared well for the coming battle. She had rallied her troops and fortified the city walls, ready to defend her kingdom with all her might. The battle was fierce and bloody, but with the aid of Lord Magnus's army and the skill of the Avaritian knights, we emerged victorious. Berolina's troops were scattered and defeated, and our kingdom was safe once more. Queen Althea was overjoyed at our success, and she thanked me personally for my role in securing aid from Lord Magnus. As for me, I was honoured to have fought alongside such brave warriors, and to have served my queen with all my heart. As I rode back to Avaritia with a small group of Lord Magnus's men, we were suddenly set upon by the enemy. They came at us from all sides, their swords flashing in the sun as they charged towards us. We fought valiantly, but we were vastly outnumbered. I could feel the sweat on my brow and the strain on my muscles as I parried blows and dodged attacks. Just when it seemed like we might be overwhelmed, a loud roar echoed across the battlefield. I looked up and saw an enormous dragon swooping down towards us, its scales glittering in the sun. The dragon was on the enemy's side, and it was clear that we were in serious trouble. We fought on, but the dragon was too powerful, its fiery breath scorching the earth and melting our weapons. We were on the brink of defeat when suddenly the dragon turned and flew away. We were confused, but we took advantage of the momentary reprieve to retreat and regroup. When we finally made it back to Avaritia, we were exhausted and battered, but we had made it. We reported to the Queen that Lord Magnus's main force was still on its way, but that we had been attacked by the enemy and barely made it back alive. The Queen was visibly shaken by the news of the dragon, knowing that it would be a formidable opponent to face in battle. But she was determined to defend her kingdom, no matter what. As we waited for Lord Magnus's reinforcements to arrive, we prepared as best we could. The Queen summoned her best knights and strategists, and we worked tirelessly to plan our defense. Finally, the day of the battle arrived. The enemy, led by an evil voodoo queen named Morgath, with the power to control fire, marched towards us, their army bolstered by the fearsome dragon. The battle was intense, with both sides fighting with all their might. The dragon was a formidable foe, but we had prepared well, and we had a plan. We lured the dragon towards the city walls, where we had placed hidden ballistae and archers. As the dragon swooped in for another attack, we unleashed a barrage of arrows and bolts, striking the beast in vulnerable spots. The dragon roared in pain and fury, but it was too late. With a final burst of flame, the dragon crashed to the ground, defeated. The enemy, seeing their most powerful weapon destroyed, began to falter. We charged towards them, led by our queen, and soon they were in full retreat. We had won the day, but it had been a hard-fought battle. Many had fallen, and the kingdom would mourn their loss. But we had defended our home, and we had done it with courage and honor. As the sun began to set on the day of the great battle, the Queen knew that the enemy would not give up so easily. She knew that Morgath, the evil voodoo queen, would return with even greater force. The Queen could not rest, knowing that her kingdom was still in danger. So, in the middle of the night, she gathered a small group of elite knights and set out to see a voodoo priestess, hoping to gain insight into Morgath's plans. The journey was long and treacherous, as they had to travel through unfamiliar lands and face many dangers along the way. But the Queen and her knights were determined, and they pressed on through the night. Finally, they arrived at the voodoo priestess's hut, nestled deep in the heart of the forest. The Queen knocked on the door, and after a moment, it creaked open. The priestess was an old, wrinkled woman with piercing green eyes. She looked the Queen up and down before speaking. "I have been expecting you, my Queen," she said in a voice that seemed to carry wisdom beyond her years. The Queen explained her situation to the priestess, and the priestess nodded knowingly. "I can help you," she said, "but the price will be high. Are you willing to pay it?" The Queen hesitated for a moment, but then nodded resolutely. She knew that the fate of her kingdom was at stake, and she would do whatever it took to protect her people. The priestess led them into her hut and began to prepare a potion. She chanted softly, and the room was filled with the sweet scent of herbs and spices. Finally, the potion was ready. The Queen drank it down in one gulp, feeling a sudden surge of power coursing through her veins. She knew that the potion would give her the ability to see the future, but only for a short time. She had to act quickly to gain the advantage over Morgoth and her forces. With newfound clarity, the Queen and her knights set out once more, ready to face whatever lay ahead. They rode through the night, guided by the Queen's visions, until they reached the enemy camp. The battle was fierce, but the Queen and her knights fought with renewed strength and determination. Morgoth, seeing the Queen's newfound power, was caught off guard and soon fell to the Queen's blade. With their leader gone, the enemy forces were quickly defeated. The Queen and her knights emerged victorious once again, and the kingdom was safe for another day. It has been a few months since the great battle, and my kingdom has finally found peace. The people are happy, and there is a newfound sense of unity among us. Lord Magnus and his army were crucial in our victory, and we have rewarded them handsomely. Magnus was granted a seat on the council, and his men were given lands and titles for their service. Seraphine, my personal knight, was especially rewarded for his bravery and loyalty. He married one of Lord Magnus's daughters and was granted lands and a lordship of his own. It warms my heart to see him so happy and fulfilled. As for myself, I have learned much from the voodoo priestess. I have honed my skills as a leader and have become more attuned to the needs of my people. I have also grown stronger in my magical abilities, using them to protect my kingdom and maintain peace. But even with all our successes, I know that there are still challenges ahead. The world is always changing, and new threats will emerge, but I am ready to face them with the same courage and determination that we used to defeat Morgoth and her army. For now, I will enjoy this moment of peace and prosperity, grateful for the brave souls who fought by my side and the allies who stood with us in our time of need. Together, we have proven that even the mightiest of foes can be overcome with strength, cunning, and a little bit of magic. As I found out I was pregnant, I felt a sense of excitement and anticipation fill me. Arik, my beloved husband, was equally overjoyed with the news. We eagerly awaited the birth of our children, dreaming of the life we would have as a family. After a long and difficult labor, I finally gave birth to our twin boys. We named them Aidan and Caleb, and they quickly became the center of our world. But as the days went by, I couldn't shake the feeling that something was not right. It started with a series of vivid visions. I saw one of my boys growing up to be pure evil, causing destruction and chaos throughout our kingdom. I was filled with dread and despair, not knowing what to do. I knew I had to seek help from the voodoo priestess, the only one who could possibly give me guidance. But I also knew the price I would have to pay for her assistance. When I met with her again, she reminded me of the choice I had to make. Either Aidan or Caleb would destroy our kingdom, or I would have to kill one of them while they were still young and innocent. I felt sick to my stomach at the thought of killing my own child, but I knew I couldn't risk the safety of our people. I had to make a difficult decision, one that would haunt me for the rest of my life. But as I looked at my sons, I couldn't tell which one was the one destined for evil. They both looked so innocent and pure. I knew I couldn't make this decision alone. I called for Arik and explained the situation to him. He was shocked and saddened, but together we knew what had to be done. We vowed to keep a watchful eye on our sons, to observe their behavior and determine which one was the threat. It was a difficult time for our family, but we knew that the fate of our kingdom rested on our decision. We would do whatever it took to protect our people, even if it meant sacrificing our own flesh and blood. As for the voodoo priestess, her name was Esmeralda. She was a powerful and mysterious figure, feared and revered by many in our kingdom. Her words carried weight and consequence, and I knew I had to heed her warnings no matter the cost. Queen Althea made the difficult decision to give her newborn son away to protect him from the dangers that threatened the kingdom. She had always hoped that her son would one day return to claim his rightful place as the heir to the throne. Years went by and the Queen had all but forgotten about her lost son, until rumours began to circulate about a mysterious knight who had risen to great prominence in the north. As the rumours grew more frequent and more detailed, Queen Althea began to suspect that this knight might be none other than her long-lost son, Aidan. Overwhelmed with a mix of emotions, including hope, fear, and regret, the Queen began to investigate the matter. She sent her most trusted advisors to the north to gather information and report back to her. As the reports came in, the Queen's suspicions were confirmed. The knight in question was indeed her son, Aidan, who had risen through the ranks of the knights far away and become a hero and champion of the realm. But the news was bittersweet for the Queen, who now realized the true cost of her decision to give her son away. She knew that Aidan's loyalty to her and the kingdom might be compromised, and she worried about the consequences of his actions. As she pondered her next move, the Queen knew that she had to act quickly and decisively. She could not allow her emotions to cloud her judgment, nor could she allow her son's actions to threaten the stability and security of the kingdom. In the end, Queen Althea decided to reach out to her son, to offer him a chance to reclaim his birthright and join her at the royal court. But she also made it clear that she would not tolerate any threats to the kingdom or the safety of its people. As the message was delivered to her son, a chill ran down Queen Althea's spine. She couldn't shake the feeling that something was amiss. Days passed without a response, and rumours began to circulate that the prince had been seen travelling with a band of outlaws. Just when she thought all hope was lost, a strange figure appeared in her throne room, cloaked in shadow and shrouded in mystery. The figure approached the Queen and whispered a message in her ear, leaving her stunned and shaken to the core.